Have you ever stopped to think about how that phone in your pocket or the coffee you're drinking actually got to you? It seems simple, right? But behind every single thing you buy, there's this hidden, complex system, this invisible network. And in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you how it all works. All right, so instead of just starting with some boring definition, let's kick things off with a story. It's a story about a product you probably know and how it went from a tiny workshop to basically conquering the world. And it all starts with this guy, LL Bean. The whole thing kicked off way back in 1911. The founder, Leon Leonwood Bean, comes back from a hunting trip in Maine, and his feet are just freezing, totally soaked. And right there, he gets an idea for a better boot. Now, here's where the story gets really good. The launch was, well, a complete disaster. Out of the first 100 pairs he sold, 90 of them, that's right, 90, were returned because the rubber bottoms separated from the leather tops. That could have been the end of it. But Bean, he honored his guarantee, gave everyone their money back, and went back to the drawing board. And from that spectacular failure, this simple boot launched a global empire. So you gotta ask, how does that even happen? How do you go from a little flyer sent to a few local hunters all the way to a global powerhouse? Well, the answer lies in mastering that invisible network we're talking about. In the business world, they call it the marketing channel. So let's actually break down what that means. Think of it like this. We're going to map out the secret pathways and understand the basic plumbing that gets a product from the factory floor, across the world, and right into your hands. Okay, so that's the textbook definition you see on the slide, a marketing channel. But honestly, a much better way to think about it is as a value delivery network. It's the entire trip a product takes, passing from one company to another, with each stop adding a little more value until it finally lands with you. And on that trip, there are a few key players you'll always find. You've got your merchants, think wholesalers and retailers, who actually buy the stuff. Then you've got agents, who are like matchmakers, connecting buyers and sellers. And finally, you have facilitators, the shipping companies, the banks, the ad agencies, the folks who make sure the whole process actually runs smoothly. Now, companies have two main ways of getting their products through this network. First is the push strategy. That's where they focus on convincing the stores to stock their product. But then there's the pull strategy. That's where they focus on you, using big ad campaigns to make you walk into the store and ask for their product by name. The really smart companies, they do both. I mean, think about Nike. They pull you in with those epic ads with athletes like LeBron James, so you want the shoes. But they also push by giving Foot Locker incentives to put those shoes right at the front of the store. It's a super powerful one-two punch. But here's the thing. That simple one-way path from a factory to a store, that's kind of ancient history now. The world's got way more complicated, and so did the journey of everything you buy. This led to what we now call the multi-channel revolution. The first big change was this light bulb moment for companies. They realized that if they wanted to reach more people, they couldn't just have one type of store or one way to sell. They had to be in multiple places all at once. Luxury brands like Coach are a perfect example. Of course, they have their own beautiful stores, but they also started selling their bags inside department stores like Nordstrom or Macy's. And why? Because it let them reach a totally different customer, someone who might never step into a standalone Coach store but loves shopping at a big retailer. And then, boom, the digital revolution hit. Suddenly, e-commerce and smartphones created entirely new pathways to get to us. Even a giant like Walmart had to completely change its game, realizing that your laptop, your tablet, your phone, every single screen was now a potential storefront. They even started using their physical stores as mini warehouses to ship online orders faster. But here's the crucial part. It's not enough anymore just to be in a lot of different places. That's just multi-channel. What you, the customer, expect now is a seamless omni-channel experience. That means the store, the website, the mobile app, they all have to work together perfectly. Because think about it, you don't see yourself as an online shopper or an in-store shopper. You're just you, and you expect the brand to recognize you no matter how you're shopping. The outdoor company RAI are absolute masters of this. You can literally be standing in one of their stores, and if they don't have your size boot, you can walk over to a kiosk and order it from their website right then and there. And it turns out, customers who shop this way, across multiple channels, don't just spend more money, they become way more loyal, because the brand gets their entire journey, from that first click online to an in-store return. So, if you're a company, how in the world do you choose? Which paths do you take? Do you sell online? Which stores should you be in? Well, it all boils down to having a really clear strategy. Okay, strategy number one is called intensive distribution. This is for all the impulse buys, gum, candy, a bottle of soda. The goal is super simple: be absolutely everywhere. You want your product in so many outlets that whenever a customer gets a craving, it's right there within arm's reach. Next up, you've got selective distribution. Here, the goal isn't to be everywhere, it's to be in the right places. Steel chainsaws are a great example of this. You're never going to find them at a big box store like Home Depot. Why not? Because they only sell through independent dealers who can give you expert advice and service. It's all about protecting that premium brand reputation. And finally, we have exclusive distribution, which is the most restrictive of them all. This is where a company severely limits where you can buy their stuff. Think about a high fashion brand like Gucci. By making their products hard to find, they create this aura of prestige and scarcity, and they maintain total control over how you experience their brand. Okay, let's pull all this together and really talk about what it means for you. Why does any of this invisible network, actually matter in your day-to-day life? Well, the ultimate goal of a perfectly designed channel system isn't just about moving products from point A to point B. When a company gets it right, it's about creating an experience you remember. Apple figured this out better than anyone. They told their retail employees that their job isn't to sell products, it's to help customers solve problems. That changes everything. The Apple Store is just a masterclass in this stuff. They created a physical space that was less about making a sale and more about building their brand. You have all the hands-on displays, the staff who aren't on commission, and of course, the Genius Bar for help. They built a channel that makes you want to be part of their world. So understanding this invisible network, it doesn't just make you a smarter shopper. It really brings up a fascinating question for all of us. As technology keeps blurring the lines, and as literally every screen, maybe even your car or your fridge, becomes a potential store, what does the future of shopping even look like? That's definitely something worth thinking about.